welcome to episode 36 of the Craft House Magic podcast. My name's Ellie and I'm coming to you from Norwich in Norfolk, and today is actually the 13th of March. It's a Tuesday. Now, I normally podcast on a Thursday, and I'll explain why I've podcasted a little bit early in a moment. So today I'm going to talk about some knitting, some dressmaking, my blast from the past gadget as normal, and some confessions. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about my shop update. I'm not going to show you much stuff, but I just wanted to talk to you about the next shop update, really. So we've got some things going on in the Ravelry group. We've got the Christmas craft along. I have actually drawn for a prize a little bit late for February. I'm hoping not to be late on the next month, the end of March. So keep getting involved in what the things you're preparing for next Christmas so that you don't get stressed at the end of the year and you can just relax and knit on your little minis or do lots of other crafty things with sort of a nice calm mind. So then we've also got the V for Valentine's Day knit along, where we cast on some socks in the Valentine's theme, and I'm going to close the thread on the 28th of March, so you've still got a little bit of time to chat along or put your finished objects in the finished objects thread. So if you have got your objects, your socks finished, your Valentine's theme socks finished already, don't forget to pop it in the finished objects thread. So the reason why I'm podcasting a little bit early is that I'm going to Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I'm so excited. I've never been before. This is the reason why I'm actually podcasting a couple of days early in the week, so that I can get a podcast out to you before I go off to Edinburgh. So it's going to be really exciting. So I'm going to be at the Yarn Festival on the 16th and 17th, which is the Friday and the Saturday. So if you're going and you see me, please come and say hi. I'd love to say hello to you or catch up if we've met before, and see what you've been buying or things you've spotted that you're interested in. It'd be lovely to see you, so don't forget. I'm going to be taking some of my badges, my pin badges with me, which I'm going to be giving away for free. So if you come and say hi and just remind me to give you a badge, because I sometimes forget to give them to people. And it'd be lovely to say hello to you. So we better get on to the knitting, I suppose, the first section. So the first thing that I've finished is my buttercups pattern. So I've knitted these because I've designed the little pattern to go along with our buttercups kit that I had a collaboration with Lay Family Yarn with Kelly. So this is the lovely yarn that she dyed up with a sort of very pale yellow with lovely speckles of sort of pinks and blues and greens in there. It's really pretty. And then it came with a little mini which I've done contrast toes and heels with. So this pattern is going to be released on Good Friday, which is the 30th of March. And it's basically supposed to be little footprints walking up the side of the sock. There we go, it's like a little lace pattern. So it's little rabbit footprints going up there. Now they're blocked, you can actually see the lace a little bit better. So on the 30th of March, I'll be releasing this pattern. So the test knitters have actually, most of them have worked through the socks already, or at least one sock. So we're on track. So that's good. So I've now got another finished object. I finished my Knit Picks socks. So these socks were knitted on 2.75mm needles, and I cast on 56 stitches. Because the Felici actually comes up quite thick, I can get away for Socks for Adam with 56 stitches, so that comes out nicely. I really like this colourway. This is Knit Picks Felici in the Sonora Sunset colourway. I did, I think, about 17 rows of 2x2 rib. I did a heel flap and gusset, and it's the same sort of heel flap as I did in my V for Valentine's socks, but I didn't do the slip stitches on the heel flap. And I did the same toe as I did on my V for Valentine's socks. So my V for Valentine's socks was a free pattern, and you can check out my toes and heels if you wanted to do the same heels as I've done on this sock. Whoops! So I've got my first Christmas gift finished for the year. Oh, they're lovely and soft. So that's my first Christmas gift. I'm so pleased. I've only got another 4 pairs of socks to knit for Christmas gifts, so that'll be good to have those off the needles by, I reckon I can get them done by the summer. So that's my second finished object. I've also got a third finished object. So I had this lovely yarn gifted to me by my friend Terry, and it's a DK yarn, and it's a Madeline Tosh, and it's called Tosh DK, and it's in the Cosmic Wonder Dust colourway, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Cosmic Wonder Dust. Lovely. So these sort of lovely bright neon speckles I thought would be brilliant for a pair of slippers. They actually look better on than they do on the sock blockers, but they're a really simple free pattern, and the pattern is called Simple House Slippers by Simone E. And I absolutely love this pattern. It's so easy. You basically cast on, if I take these off the sock blockers I can explain how they're knitted. So you cast on a long edge, which is then sewn up here afterwards. So you knit this garter ridge section on flat, and then you join in to knit in the round for this foot, and then you just do some decreases at the end, which don't take any time at all, and then sew in the ends and sew up that edge, and it's really, really quick and easy. I thought I wanted to have some pom-poms. So I have made some pom-poms, which I haven't put on yet, but I thought that these would look brilliant. I will place it so you can sort of see. But when I've actually put them on top, they're huge pom-poms. But you know, I love it. I love the pom-pom effect. I think that those will look really cool when I've actually sewn them on. So the two pom-poms I've made, one is actually pinker than the other one, as you can see, but I don't mind. But aren't they cute? I'm going to have to put them on. If you watch out on my Instagram account, I will pop some pictures once I've sewn these onto the slippers, or I will post them on the next podcast. But if you pop over to my Instagram, you'll probably see them before. So they look really, really simple, these little slippers, but I've been told by some good sources that they are very, very cosy, and I've actually tried them on already, and I'm in love with these slippers already. So these are for me, but I think that they would be a really good Christmas gift, so I will be knitting some of these with the Christmas craft along as well, so that'll be good. So there's my 3 finished objects, and I've been working on a couple of things since I last spoke to you. I haven't done very much on my water lily, and I know I said I'd finish this for Edinburgh Yarn Festival, but I came to a point where I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I had to make a decision. I thought, do you know what, I'm not going to rush, I'm just going to leave it and think about it a little while. So I don't think I've done much since the last time I showed it to you. So this is working on the back panel of the water lily. And I'm nearly up to the point where I've finished knitting the back panel, but some people said that they found that the back of the neck was quite gapey, and they suggested to do some decreases. Now I was a bit unsure whether to do the decreases or just to follow the pattern exactly. If anybody has knitted the water lily, I would love to hear from you and exactly what you did. I have looked on the project pages on Ravelry, but I couldn't quite work out whether you just did the decreases on just the back of the neck rather than right across the back, and what this actually looked like close up. So if you've got any tips, I'd love to hear from you. So that's knitted in my Ginger Twist yarn. If I can find my little label, and it's in the Might As Well Be Spring colourway, and it's in the Yakety Yak base, and it's lovely and soft and drapey. Unfortunately, it's not going to be ready for my Edinburgh Yarn Festival visit, which is a bit disappointing, but I didn't want to rush it and do some silly mistakes and end up having to knit it all back up again and just getting stressed. I just thought, I'm going to enjoy my visit to Edinburgh Yarn Festival. Doing knitting and crafting is not supposed to be stressful, I'm just going to enjoy it. So I've got one more knitted project that I cast on. So I went to the Midlands Monthly Meetup, which has been organised by Kelly Lay of Lay Family Yarns. She dyes some beautiful yarn, and I know that Tracy from Nora George and Tracy from Thimble Thread and Make were also involved in organising it as well. So I had to go along, even though it was 2.5 hours on the train. I had to go and have a meet up with all these lovely ladies, and it was such a good time. I had some lovely food and a lovely hot chocolate, if you've seen my Instagram posts. So I cast on a lovely tube sock, so that well, it's not a tube sock, it's going to be an afterthought everything sock. So I've just knit the cuff, and I'm just going to knit all the way till the end of the ball and then knit another cuff, and then I'm going to do an afterthought toe and an afterthought heel. So this allows me not to have to think at all. So when I was chatting to the ladies, I didn't have to concentrate on any heels and things. So this is the yarn I'm working with, and that's what it looks like in the ball. I showed you this on a previous podcast. I'm just trying to see if I can find the label to show you. Here we go. It's Grundle yarn, I think that's how you say it, in the Hot Socks base. So it's 75% wool and 25% nylon, and it's quite a tough sock sort of yarn. And I used some West Yorkshire spinners in a sort of yellow colourway for the cuff, but I'm not sure whether that's a little bit bright. I'll decide when I get to the end of the stripy section, when I'm about to put the other cuff on, whether I need to actually swap this yellow yarn for a different colour. It's just what I had in my stash, and in the evening I sort of put the colours together and they looked as if they'd go, but actually in the daylight this one is a little bit bright. But I think that's a great way just to have some knitting where I can just knit away and deal with the heels and toes later. And also I thought it'd be a good way of using up all the yarn, because effectively I'll have used all my stripy yarn up, which will be very efficient. So there we go, that's my last work in progress. I think I shall be working on those at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, because it means I don't have to concentrate on anything while I'm chatting to people, which should be good. I think I'll have to cast something else on, because I don't think I'm going to take my water lily with me, because it's quite a bulky project. I need to cast something else on that's quite easy as well for travel knitting. So that's all my knitting talked about. That's good English, isn't it? That's all my knitting talked about. And we're on to the sewing section. Now I'm going to attempt to step back and stand up in my Zadie dress. I promised that I'd show you this on the last podcast. So I finished my Zadie dress out of this gorgeous thick jersey fabric. Sorry, I'm sticking my boobs in the camera again. It's terrible. And this part of the fabric is actually the reverse, so you can see that there's the patterned side on there, but I thought that rather than have all the patterned on the arms and on the sides, I thought it'd be more flattering to have this section where there's no sort of pattern. I absolutely love these pockets. My phone fits in there brilliantly. I can pop all sorts of bits and bobs in there, even a ball of yarn I reckon would fit in there. It's the cosiest thing ever, and I really like the fit there. Sorry I can't get the bottom of the skirt in, it's just going just past my knees, but I think that this is pretty flattering with the shape that the dress is initially. So there we go. I haven't actually ironed this, so it's good. It's good to know that I don't have to iron all the things. So I've got something else I've been sewing. I have to shout Barbara to come in and show you. Come on, Barbara, come and say hello to everybody. Hi, Barbara, how are you today? Sorry, guys. So this is my Agnes top, my latest Agnes top. And I don't know if you remember a couple of episodes ago, I picked up this gorgeous fabric. It's got actually sewing machines and scissors and things on it. I'm not quite sure if you can see on the camera there. I'll show you, I'll take it off, Barbara, in a minute and show you. But this fabric is really lovely. I just thought it would be so brilliant so I could wear this. I can actually wear this at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, so that'll be nice. I decided to actually increase the size of the arms and the side seams on this garment, just so that it isn't quite so clingy as the one I'd made previously. So I ended up taking one more size up than I normally would in the Tilly and the Buttons patterns, because I think it's supposed to be quite a clingy fit, but for somebody who's got my figure, it needs a little bit more room. It's not going to be too clingy. So I'm really pleased with the fit now. That is much better. And again, I used the top stitch, the twin needle to top stitch the hems on the bottom of the top, the sleeves and round the neck. And I'm really pleased with the colour match actually with the grey thread that I used. So I'm definitely going to be using this size in the Agnes top rather than the one I cut out previously. Oh, and I forgot to say to you, I actually did 3/4 length sleeves this time. because I didn't think that the sleeve cut off at the elbow, for me, really looked very flattering. So I decided to cut between the full length t-shirt and the short t-shirt to about 5 inches less. Well, I cut it 5 inches less than the full length arm, and that's come out as a perfect length for me for a 3/4 length sleeve. I don't tend to wear long sleeve tops that much, because I find I tend to roll my sleeves up if I do have long sleeves anyway. So there we are. There's another Agnes top. I'm going to hopefully have a few more of these in my wardrobe, because I find that this sort of thing is very, very versatile, you know. The Agnes pattern, I've said before on previous occasions, you can put some elastic here and on the arms of a different pattern piece to make a more sort of a ruched, more flouncy sort of top. I think I might try that in the future, but I haven't. I didn't think this fabric really suited that sort of style. So thank you, Barbara. I believe you've got something else to show us. Oh, Barbara, that was quick. So I just wanted to show you the fabric up close to the camera that's got the sewing machines and that on. I think that's going to be lovely. So let's talk about the Bettine. So this is also a pattern by Tilly and the Buttons. And this is made out of a chambray that I picked up from Higgs & Higgs, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Higgs & Higgs. And I'm pleased I did it in a chambray. I really like how this sort of lies. It's a really comfortable dress, and there's quite big pockets in this again. I haven't worn this yet, but I intend to wear it to Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and just I can report back on how I got on and whether it creased to high heaven or not. So I actually followed the pattern pretty much to how it was written, apart from the fact that I added some darts. So it says, oops, oh Barbara, have you had a drink? So it suggests in the instructions, actually, if you're going to do a full bust adjustment, to just put the excess fabric in, ruche the excess fabric into the seam here. But because I had to add so many inches, I thought, right, I'm going to have to add a dart, otherwise it's just going to be so baggy at the sides here. So normally I'm like a double D E cup in bra, so I would have had to add 3 inches across the front, which with this shape of pattern where the sleeve is all in one, it's really difficult to add 3 inches without sort of distorting the shape of the top too much. So I found that what I did was take the slightly larger size for the side seams, so that I only had to add 2 inches in the large bust adjustment. And I used the technique that they showed on the Tilly the Buttons website for adding, doing a large bust adjustment to the Bettine specifically, because it was slightly different to how you do a large bust adjustment normally if you have got the shoulder has a separate piece. So I'm really pleased about how that fits, although I did do it slightly high, so it comes up about 1/2 inch, a little bit higher than my sort of bust apex where it should be. But I don't think you'd really notice, and I think I've actually adjusted the pattern now so that the dart is a little bit further down so it's in the right place. What I also did is I top stitched around the edge of the pocket here about, I think it was perhaps 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch from the edge of the pocket, just to give it a little bit more stability, because I think I'll be using those pockets a lot. And I don't think you can see the stitching too much, especially because this is dark fabric on the video, sorry guys. But I'm pleased I did that, because I know now that it'll just last a little bit longer. I didn't do, oh, I've got thread on me. Sorry, Barbara. I didn't actually do French seams or anything like that. I just did normal overlock seams because I wanted to see how the fit was. And I did end up taking out the seams a little bit on the sleeves so that it fit my arm nicely. But other than that, I kept the pattern pretty much the same. I've put some elastic in the waist like it said in the instructions, and I just used some thinner elastic that I had in my stash really. It's about 1/4 inch wide, and it was a very, very stretchy elastic that I'd had quite some time. So I actually think that I'm going to replace that with some thicker elastic. I have got around here somewhere. It's underneath all the stuff, with about a 3/4, about 1/2 inch thick elastic, just to give it a little bit more substance, I suppose. Because when I actually put this on, it felt a little bit too stretchy. I wanted it to feel like it was hugging me a little bit more. So I will replace that later, and I know that'll fit in the space that you sew for the elastic around the waist. I really enjoyed adding these little cuff bits. I did actually hand sew all around the edge of the cuff, because it really gets on my nerves when you wear a top and the little cuff flips down. So I've hand sewed it all the way around, which probably means that it doesn't stick out so much and it shows as well. But I know that it's not going to flip open on me and really make me cross. So there we go. This actually, I'm not one for just wearing dresses with tights and things. I tend to wear leggings underneath them. But I think that this will work well with some leggings. Hopefully it doesn't crease too much when I go to Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I shall be telling everybody how creased it is if it does get on my nerves. But I do plan to do one of these in a viscose, more drapey fabric, which I've shown on previous podcasts, which is like a white daisy pattern. It's actually navy and white as well, similar colours to this. But I did buy them both for this purpose. But I'm going to wear this one before I start making the other one, so that I can decide whether I need to make any additional changes. I'll just show you the back. And it just sort of puffs out a bit. With it being it's chambray, it's quite a sturdy fabric, and it sort of puffs out a little bit like that. But I think I quite like how that looks on me, and it's relatively flattering as it's a dark colour as well. So there we are, there's the bottine. If you're relatively new to sewing, I definitely recommend this pattern, especially with the tilly and the buttons instructions being as detailed as they are. You can learn a lot from sort of making something like this, especially if you pick a chambray rather than a viscose, because the viscose might be a bit difficult to use, to control underneath the sewing machine and things. The chambray is relatively easy to sew and to control under the machine. So there we are. Thank you so much, Barbara. Thanks, Barbara. So we're on to my blast from the past now. And I'm just going to show you a piece of my free motion embroidery work that I've added some beads to. So this was a piece that I completed after a course I'd done with Mary McIntosh, and it's about layering up fabrics and with organza and stitching on top of them. I don't know if you'll be able to see that I've done some little vermicelli stitches on the machine and some satin stitch and cut some of that organza away and then added some beads on there. I don't actually have this on the wall because it's quite a dark piece. A lot of my house is quite a light colour, so it doesn't really go with it. So it's just stuck up on the shelf in my craft room. But I did really enjoy doing this piece, and I think I might try and do something else like this that I'll actually put on the walls downstairs. But I did enjoy doing that. So that's a little bit of free motion stitching on the machine. I want to do a little bit more in the future. So that's that, and we're on to gadget. So you're going to laugh at me this week. The gadget for this week is the head torch. So I'm going to attempt to put it on without looking a complete fool. So this head torch has a tilting mechanism, which I can actually sit while Adam's watching the television with more of a direct light on to my knitting. There we go. How ridiculous do I look? So this has several settings, but I tend to use the brighter of the lights. But it's just one that's got like a tilting mechanism. So I use this for knitting or doing some close-up embroidery where I need a bit more light in the evening. And I have recently been using it in the car, for car knitting in the dark, which is good. Because you can sort of tilt it down and have it directly on your work, it doesn't tend to interfere with the person driving, which is also a good thing. I tend to take things for car knitting that are very, very easy that I can just do stocking stitch, which I don't have to look at too much. But if you have a disaster and you need to see what you're doing, head torch is a good idea. I will see if I can find a link to where Adam got these head torches, but I'm sure that you can probably find them on Amazon or eBay or somewhere. He bought it me for Christmas, which is actually a quite funny present, but I've been using it quite a lot, so I definitely recommend something like that. So let's get on to the confession. Oh dear. I said that I wasn't going to buy any yarn for Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I think I've fallen off the bandwagon. Well, I didn't buy that much. It's not too bad. I had seen that Cassia from Rainbow Cloud had updated a shop with some new minis, and I've bought these. I'm saving them in the packet, so when I come to do my cozy memories, it's like opening them all fresh, and it's lovely. But you can see what lovely colours they are there. Cassie is one of my favourite dyers. She always puts the colours together what I wouldn't dream of, but then they look fantastic. So I definitely recommend that. I did see on Cassie's Instagram, on Rainbow Cloud Shop's Instagram, that she's starting to sell minis separately. So if you could actually choose the sort of colours you wanted if you didn't like the whole set, if you see what I mean. So that's rather lovely. And then I saw that Kelly had these, what's it called, an afternoon tea clubs. She was doing a collaboration with lovely Cheryl from Chapel View Crafts. So you get a skein of yarn and a charm in the afternoon tea club. Now, if you haven't got yours, I'm sure you have, because I've had this about a week now, and I think that Kelly shipped the international parcels out a few days early so that you could get it in time. But if you haven't got your afternoon tea club yet, for March, I think it's March, yeah, for March, close your eyes for a few seconds. There we go, look at that. I'll pull this label down so that you can see it a little bit better. There we go. Look at those speckles. Those there are slightly more pinks in there, but my camera doesn't pick up pinks very well. But beautiful, beautiful, delicate yarn. And this lovely charm. That's so sweet. So that little progress keeper came in this gorgeous little tin as well, which I thought was rather lovely. I can keep my little progress keepers in my knitting. So there we go. I was a bit naughty, and I'm very tempted to order the next month's afternoon tea club from Kelly. I'll have to see how I get on at Edinburgh Yarn Festival. It came with this beautiful little card that's got, I won't show you what it says on the card, but it's a gorgeous little picture of the afternoon tea. So that's rather lovely. Oh, I've got quite a few things in my little pile, so I'll have to make sure I don't miss anything out. So next I bought a sewing related thing. I'm trying to do this in the order of I've actually purchased it. So I bought this stretch book by Tilly and the Buttons, because you know what a fan I am of Tilly and the Buttons nowadays. And I just wanted to show you what patterns are in there. So there's 5 main patterns, but they do show sort of adaptations for each of the patterns. So there's a skirt. I should have put bookmarks in so that I could flick to the page very quickly and show you exactly what's on here, because there's lots of information about sort of overlockers and how to sew things. So there's a skirt. There we go. And the skirt can be made into like a dungarees, which I shall show you. So this is sort of an adaptation of the skirt, but they give you instructions for that. And then next there's a gorgeous like a baseball t-shirt that they call it. There we go. But if you actually do them in different fabrics, it doesn't look so obviously a baseball t-shirt. It looks more like just a standard raglan top. and they talk about how you can do different modifications, and this is an example of what you can do with it. So this is the same baseball t-shirt with some modifications, basically some pieces of other fabric top stitch on top, but it does give you detailed information about what you might do with it. And then it shows sort of different modifications like this, like a short sleeve version, which I think is really nice. So then there's the Freya sweater, which is also a dress as well, so that's the sweater version of it. And I particularly liked one adaptation of this where they'd added a frill to the top. Let's see if I can find that. There we go. I'm not quite sure whether this style will suit my bustiness. We'll see. I might just try it and see what happens, but I really like that version. And there's also a cowl neck that I quite like as well, so that's the dress version. So that'll be something nice I'd like to make in the future. There's also some a hoodie and some jogging bottoms that you can make. I'd possibly make this more as a nightwear rather than actual to go out the house. I could have it as loungewear as well. And then there's this gorgeous dress at the back of the book. There's it in blue. I don't actually like this one so much. It's in a velvet, but there's a twist in the bust area. Let's see if I can find a better picture of a different coloured fabric. There's a stripy one that... Oh, this one I really like. It's in like a pink, and you can see there's a twist there in the bust area. And there's some other modifications with some flouncy sleeves as well. But I just wanted to give you a quick overview of what patterns are in here. There's a little pocket in the back of the book with all the pattern pieces in, and they're printed on both sides, so you don't want to cut them out, you'd have to trace them out. So if you're not a fan of tracing, it's a bit annoying, but it's not too bad. So I'm really pleased I got this. I picked it up actually. I bought my copy from Amazon, and I wished I'd bought it directly from Tilly and the Buttons because I think they dispatch those much quicker. And they also came with a patch. And it was a signed copy as well if you got it directly from them. But I think theirs was £20 and my copy from Amazon was £15. And I thought I don't really need to have it signed and have an extra patch. So I'll be good and buy the one from Amazon, because you're still kind of supporting Tilly and the Buttons. But I think it's nicer to get them straight from Tilly and the Buttons themselves. So I've been involved in a collaboration with Sarah Holmes, who's Sherlock Knits on Instagram, and she's been organising this Flower Power Fund. And I'd been making some bags, and I've got one left that's actually going to be a prize that Sarah's going to give away, and it's a hydrangea theme. So Sarah's going to give this bag away, but I've actually sold all the ones that are in my shop, and £8.50 from each bag is going to go to the Flower Power Fund, which is lovely. So I've actually going to be sending a cheque for £150 to Sarah, well, as soon as possible really. So in the sort of hydrangea theme, there's also been some other people doing some things as well. So one of those people was Sam Draws Things, which is, this is her logo. And she does some beautiful artworks. And she did the hydrangea drawing. I should actually take this out of the plastic. I've been keeping it in the plastic so that I wouldn't get it all dirty. But to show you on camera, it's nice so you can see the texture of the quality paper that it's printed on. So this is a hydrangea print drawn by Sam, and I really love this. Hydrangeas are my favourite, that's why I picked to do the hydrangea bag set. And you can pick up these prints from Sam's website, and I'll show you that logo again. And it's actually got a web address underneath. There we go, so she popped a little note in there, and that's really lovely. So you can find Sam on Twitter, Instagram and Etsy as Sam Draws Things. So if you're interested, you can pop along to her Instagram and see lots of the pictures that she's been drawing. So Katie from Sylvan Tiger Yarn has also been involved in the hydrangeas themed Flower Power Fund thing. I'll just show you what her Instagram looks like so you can find it. So Katie's been dyeing up some yarn in the hydrangea colourway as well. And here is the beautiful yarn that she's been dyeing up. And I've ordered one, but obviously it's not come yet. So I'm looking forward to getting that. So if you're interested, you can pop over to Katie's Etsy shop, or you can follow her on Instagram. That's Sylvan Tiger Yarn. I'll pop that on the screen as well so you can find it. So it's really lovely that everybody's coming together to raise money for the Mary Curie Fund, and it's such a wonderful cause that, and Sarah's been doing such a lovely job at raising money. That's really lovely. So don't forget to follow Sarah on Instagram. She's Sherlock Knits. So let's get on to the next bit of confessions. Actually, it's not quite so naughty. I actually received a beautiful gift from my lovely friend Caroline, and it's got a little bit squashed because I've had it in my knitting bag because it smells lovely. It's a lavender bag, and it's made with some beautiful Tilda fabric and some really soft, like a linen fabric, and it's really, quite a lot of lovely lavender in there. And so Caroline is Caroline Loves to Sew on Instagram, and she also does a podcast, and she hasn't been knitting very long, but she's been knitting these fantastic socks, so I'd really advise you to go and have a look at her YouTube channel. So that's Caroline Loves to Sew. So thank you so much, Caroline. She's also got some lovely collaborations coming out on Thursday at 7 o'clock, some kits, so I've got to keep my eye out for that. I had a lovely message from my friend Anita, who's actually got a podcast of her own as well. She's Gaga Knits, and she does a lovely variety of sort of dressmaking and knitting and sewing things, and she also shows little videos of her walks with her dog in and around where she lives in Wales, so that's really lovely. So Anita sent me some lovely prizes to give away to you guys. So she sent me a lovely drawstring bag that I won't open because it'll spoil it for you guys. So this is actually going to be a kit for like a children's knitting kit. So this is the little drawstring bag. It actually opens up twice the size of that, so it's quite a nice size. And then some really nice brightly coloured yarn, which is sort of acrylic, but what you'd want children to start knitting with. So that's really lovely, suitable for both boys and girls. And this really cute little bag of all little bits and bobs, including a tape measure, some needles, a notebook, a little key ring, a pen, some sweeties. So that's really lovely little prize for somebody who's got some children to get them into knitting, really. So that's going towards the Christmas Craft Along Fund prize fund. And that'll be one of March's prizes. I will also be donating a copy of my Buttercup sock pattern as one of the prizes for the Christmas knit along as well. So don't forget to go in there and chat about all the things that you've been knitting or sewing or whatever, woodwork, whatever. It'd be lovely to see what you've been doing. So don't forget to catch up with Anita's podcast as well. She's Gaga Knits. So I think that's all of my confessions. It's not too bad. All the yarn is one skein and some minis. That's not too bad. And I'll just give you a little rundown of my shop update. So my next shop update is going to be on the 23rd of March at 7 o'clock GMT. And I'm thinking, or hopefully getting some yarn and bags in there, but I haven't had a chance to make up everything in it yet because we've got the Edinburgh Yarn Festival in a couple of days. So I'll be away for a few days for that. So because I'm going to be away, I don't really want to shut my Etsy shop because it really annoys me when sometimes I'll think, oh, I want to buy something, and then somebody's on holiday. I'd rather just buy it and then ship it a couple of days later or couple of weeks later. So I'm going to leave my Etsy shop open, but things that are purchased from 11 o'clock on the 14th of March till the 19th of March won't be posted until the 20th of March, just to let you know. I will also put it on my Etsy shop little summary page, and I will email anybody who orders anything between those dates and times. So I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who bought one of the hydrangea bags or anything from my shop in the last month or so, or any time. It's really nice to have you supporting my shop and also supporting the Flower Power Fund, because I think that the Mary Curie charity is such an important charity. And I think that's everything really. So thank you so much for sitting and putting up with me for however long I've sat here chatting for. Goodness knows, at least half an hour. And I hope to see you after Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I will get some footage taken of the show, because Adam's coming along with me. He's going to take some footage so I can just get on with chatting to people and buying yarn and bits and bobs. And so hopefully that'll be on the end of the next podcast. So I shall see you in a couple of weeks. I hope you have a wonderful time crafting and enjoy the Edinburgh Yarn Festival if you're going. If not, have a fun, happy crafting time anyway. And I shall see you in a couple of weeks. Bye!